Hey, it's Ian. Doing something a little different this week. We've spent the last episodes asking if folks had any questions, so let's open up the mailbag and see what we've got. All right, 3 questions. And it's really good to do 3 points in your speech. What a coincidence. Welcome to the Talk Public Speaking Podcast. This is episode 8, the mailbag. Question number 1. What advice would you give for developing your own speaking style? Socrates said, "Know thyself." So begin by understanding how you come across to your audience. Part of this involves recording yourself, playing back the audio only so you can focus on inflection, and then video only so you can delve into the body language. Then get some feedback from your friends. Give them a spontaneous or prepared speech, something short and easy to watch, and make a very short form listing positive adjectives like confident, loose, or loud, or funny, or comfortable. Have your friends check off the adjectives that apply to you as you're presenting. And from that, you can see which descriptions all your viewers agree on and which responses you're not earning. Nobody might think that you're funny. That's good. It means you know what you have to work on. I'd record myself all the time when I was training for mock trial contests in college. It helped me notice a lot of problems. I had odd eye contact. I'd keep glancing at the scoring judges instead of looking at my witness like I was supposed to, because I was so anxious about getting my judge's approval. Or when I moved around the courtroom, my left arm would swing backwards so wildly that it was like I was trying to block a blow to the back from a martial artist. Tomfoolery. Question number 2. What are examples of pitfalls I've seen speakers make when they structure their speeches? Well, there's a high school competition named Dramatic Interpretation. It is a 10-minute monologue like the acting category I told you about a few weeks back. So many contestants make the same mistake. They begin with the most dramatic part of the performance. They're yelling and screaming and crying in the first minute. My dog was hit by a car, and I followed him into the road. And then the car backed into me. So I went to the hospital, and I told this to the doctor. And then the doctor hit me with her car. And I tried to call my family for help, and my dad picked up the phone and said my mom was in a coma. Because the doctor beat her up too. And then Dad stopped responding because he was hit by the same car. Only slightly exaggerated, but there's some reason why people call dramatic interp traumatic interp. The point is, a piece needs time to build and breathe. Yeah, you've got to start strong enough to keep the crowd's attention, but you don't want to start at an 11 because you either stay at the same exhausting level of intensity or you lose energy throughout the performance. So get our attention and get to the point, but don't begin with the climax because that means you can't end on the highest note. It'll make the ending feel diminished. And you should never end on a low note or a sense of diminishment. Speaking of diminished, question number 3. What did I think of the presidential debate? I thought it was a national tragedy. Most pundits and viewers largely agree that President Biden's delivery was often meandering and sometimes incomprehensible. President Trump was comparatively more forceful and confident, and he also lied a lot, from saying that millions of people are entering America from mental institutions, or that Nancy Pelosi is taking full responsibility for the January 6th attack on the Capitol, to saying that everybody without exception wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. Egregiously dishonest. But President Biden failed to fact-check this egregious dishonesty and decided to talk about golf handicaps and alley cats instead. Most Americans, when polled, did not want a Biden v. Trump rematch. And this debate, which reminded me of a Saturday Night Live sketch, demonstrated why. But let's turn this national disgrace into a productive dialogue. What can we learn about speech-making from the candidates' opening statements? Let's start with President Biden's opening. He says, Trump left the economy in freefall and mishandled COVID. Then he says he's created 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, and that he comes from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where kitchen table issues like the price of eggs mattered a lot. He suggests reducing the price of housing by building more units and capping rent. Then he pivots back to Trump and says Trump didn't do a lot and there was chaos. And then he says he brought down the price of prescription drugs and he was helping seniors. Why does this feel so jumbled? Because it's out of order. He's jumping between problems and solutions, so it seems like a bullet-pointed slideshow instead of a story. Let me give my take. Folks, you elected me 4 years ago to save America from Donald Trump's terrible leadership. You know, we had a pandemic response team. He disbanded that team, destroyed our guardrails, and downplayed the disease until we had more Americans dying from COVID than the attack on Pearl Harbor, days at a time. We made some tough decisions to save small businesses with the American Rescue Plan. And that caused some inflation. I know that we're still wrestling with it. I get it. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where these kitchen table issues about the cost of eggs and gas and rent mean a lot. And even though it's true, my administration did what everyone said was impossible and stopped us from sliding into a recession or a depression, you might not be feeling it yet. I understand that. But rest assured, everything we're planning for the next 4 years is there to help you. It's why we've created 800,000 manufacturing jobs the Trump administration lost. It's why we've passed the biggest infrastructure act in modern history when the Trump administration failed to get it done. It's why we finally let Medicare negotiate down prices with drug companies, which no other president was able to do. 4 more years of Trump is more tax cuts for the rich instead of support for the little guy. It's 4 more years of climate denial instead of help for renewable energy to save our planet. It's 4 more years of corrupt judges who are going to take away your reproductive rights instead of respecting women's choices. We can't risk another 4 more years of this disaster. Not when we have so much good work left to do. That's about 2 minutes. Easy structure. Look at the past, acknowledge the present, and draw a contrast with differing visions for the future. But let's be fair about this. We'll compare it to Trump's opening. He said, we had a great economy, we spent money to avoid a depression, we had no wars, but Biden had vaccine mandates, and mandates are a disaster, and the only jobs that Biden made were for illegal immigrants, and it was old jobs from COVID, and inflation is killing us. See the problem? Unlike Biden, who keeps jumping around, the issue with Trump's opening is that it acknowledges the past and the present, but it in no way deals with the future. Independent voters or Trump skeptics will look at this as another example of Trump complaining without any solutions. How about this instead? At the end of my administration, we were hit by a world-shattering pandemic. Nobody saw it coming. But under my leadership, we created a vaccine that saved millions of lives. If it wasn't for the innovation of Project Warp Speed, so many more Americans would have died. Now, the Democrats want to take credit for it. They don't deserve the credit. His vice president even said to you that she wouldn't take a vaccine if it came from me. That's not science. That's spite. Joe Biden campaigned on healing this country's divisions. It is now more divided than ever. He failed. Joe Biden said he would keep you safe. Now he's leading us into World War III. Maybe it starts in the Middle East, maybe in Ukraine, maybe in South Korea, maybe in Taiwan. Nobody respects this administration because he has made our country weak. So compare our presidencies on something simple. Who has the better record? Because under Trump, we had 7 million new jobs. We had the lowest unemployment in a half century, especially for women, with record lows for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, veterans. The stock market was at its highest ever. We gave you $3 trillion in tax relief. So you can vote for better jobs, lower taxes, less unemployment, safety at home, respect abroad. Or you can vote for crippling inflation, more illegal immigration, and global war. America cannot take another 4 more years of Joe Biden. Joe Biden cannot take another 4 years of Joe Biden. That is my bipartisan take on how to make opening statements more clear and accessible. Now, would these resonate with every audience member? No. But would they work better with debate judges? Or more importantly, independents with college diplomas? Or one of the most important demographics in this whole race, Nikki Haley voters? I think they might see him as a breath of fresh air. And I think all of us need to take that breath after what the world saw at that debate. So here we go. In and out. And we're out too. Thanks for tuning in to the Offend Talk Public Speaking Podcast. Please share the pod, leave a review, let me know what you want to hear. We're going to get into IPDA, a unique debate format for college students and adults, next week. Until next time, like always, I am your public speaking professional.